He's my favorite member of Congress because he's my home state congressman, but also because I've had the opportunity to know French for about the last 30 years, and just a great career and success in both the private sector and the public sector. Somebody who didn't need to run for office but was willing to do so, and does such a fabulous job representing our state and fighting for things that matter. As he mentioned, I've made no secret that the #1 priority I have as governor is education. And we started on day one of coming into office focusing really heavily on K through 12 education. And we're able to pass transformational education reform just in the first few months of office. And now we want to build on that foundation that we have set and really lean into what we can do in higher education to make sure that every single student in the state of Arkansas has a pathway to success. We know those all look different, and so we want to make sure that that opportunity is available to everyone. And I appreciate you bringing people together and helping us highlight education here in the state of Arkansas and how we can all work together. And very grateful for your leadership and partnership and willingness to work with us to help serve students in the best way possible.
A project.
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons. One, and there are several of them here in the room, but there were a few legislators that basically sat outside of my office and weren't taking anything less. And so Linda Chesterfield's laughing because she was one of those individuals. But in reality, and the real story is, you know, I grew up in Pine Bluff. I know what an incredible anchor that institution is, not just for that area, but frankly for the entire state of Arkansas. As our state's oldest HBCU and one of, I think, the biggest educational anchors in that region of our state, it matters. And making sure that students have access not just to the education side, but they have a reason to want to be there. That we have a way to recruit and retain students is really important. When a kid comes to a campus to decide whether or not do I want to attend this school, they need to see that there are some of the fun parts of it and ways to draw them in. And at a time when it is harder and harder to get more and more students to attend a four-year institution, then we're looking for those ways to draw them in. And I felt like this was one of those things that helped us elevate the student experience there at UAPB, but it was also one of their top priorities. And I'm not somebody who thinks, you and I were just talking about this before we walked in, that I show up and have all the answers, but listening to the people who are on the ground, who are doing it all day, every day, that was one of the biggest asks that they had, was help us on this project. We have most of the funding. We need to get this across the finish line. And we think it is one of the best things that we have that helps us bring in new students to the school. And so we listened, we heard them out. And I'm excited to go back and see the completion of this project. But more importantly, I'm excited to see students coming and attending at UAPB, getting the education they need, they deserve, and those students staying here in Arkansas, because ultimately that's what we want to see happen. We want our best and brightest to have a reason to be in Arkansas, have a reason to stay here, and hopefully go into great careers, raise their own families, and always continue to call this place their home.
Thank you. Thank you to death. However,
in case you're wondering, that's the UAPB table back there in the back.
You know, so Governor, the state, and rightfully so, has played a significant role in the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. This next question is, what is your administration doing to support the Central Arkansas HBCUs, so the three privates right here in Little Rock and North Little Rock?
Well, I think a little bit of what I just talked about through Arkansas Access, also things like today. I think that's why it's really important, the work that Congressman Hill is doing, is because we're highlighting, bringing awareness to these institutions, making sure people know that they're here, know what they offer, and know that this is a place that they can come and get a great education here in Central Arkansas. And so I'm proud that I get to be part of today's program. Southern Baptist minister and a politician. So there were basically two things in every event as a kid that I was guaranteed were going to happen. We were going to be there a long time, and he was going to ask for money. So I'm well-versed in what both of those things
know
look
what?
like.
I love your views have long served the needs of the entire community. What do you see as the next employment gap that will be filled by these graduates, and how do we begin to prepare students for those roles?
Well, certainly STEM continues to be an issue. We have an opportunity